All right, so on your do now, example number 9 at the end of yesterday's notes, it is asking you to manipulate y equals -1/2 to times 1/2 to the x, so that you can describe what is the transformation from 2 to the x, right? Remembering here that 1/2 can become 2 to the -1, because if I have a negative power, that means whatever that negative power is attached to belongs in the denominator of a fraction. Okay, so 1/2 became 2 to the -1, and I left the -1/2 there. And then from there, excuse me, then from there, I just distribute the x, and it became -1/2 2 to the -x. So now, describing the transformations of what took place with this function. It was reflected over the y-axis. Do we see that? Because of the -x. So we have a reflection over y-axis. And then we have a reflection over the x-axis and a vertical shrink by 1/2, I'm sorry. No. Also for number 10, do we just describe the transformation, or do we also need to put it in terms of? You're writing the equation and just describing the transformation. Yep. Yes.
The shrink means compression or
shrink means compression. It's compressed. Okay, so on 10, for example, 10a, your base now is 4, and you're replacing your x with x minus 3. So you have g of x equals 4 to the x minus 3. Describe the transformation. So what is the transformation on this function? What does the x minus 3 mean happen to this function? It went to the right 3 because our x's are liars. So even though we think it's going to the left, it actually is going to the right. Here, h of x says f of x plus 5. So h of x equals our original 4 to the x, but plus 5. So what's happening here? I went 5 units up. I didn't change the x. I added on to the existing function. Okay. Let me scroll down. Did I make it go down? Go down. Okay, on D and C, a little more takes place. So on C, it's telling you here that you are changing your x to -2x. Okay, so that's what it wants you to do. It wants you to manipulate the x and change it to -2x. So where x is, it now becomes -2x. So your new function is 4 to the -2x. And then you're describing what took place. Does that make sense? Because it says your new function is f parentheses -2x, f of x. So I'm replacing x with -2x. I'm not changing anything. I'm just changing x. It's just substitution. What is it doing beside the y? It's shrinking horizontally shrinking by 2.
Wait.
Or half.
Yeah,
Sorry.
by half.
Shrink by half. I said 2.
-2.
The negative is causing it to reflect over the y-axis, but the 2 itself is telling you that your x's are liars. It looks like you're multiplying by 2, but you're actually multiplying by a half. It is shrinking horizontally. We have the notes on the.
It's the 2A.4 part 1, and it has all the rules.
It has all the rules written down for you. Okay. On this one, you have several things taking place to this original function. So p of x equals, I am going to multiply f of x by -3. I'm then going to change my x to x plus 1. And then I'm going to subtract 2. So there's literally 4 things that took place in transformation world. Okay. From left to right, what happened first? It reflects over the x-axis. Then what happens? Vertical stretch by 3. And then what happens? It went 1 unit to the left, and then what happens? It went 2 units down, okay? All of that happens because in each spot, there's a variable change. So that lets me know there's 4 transformations that took place, okay? That's what it's asking you to describe, is to apply the change, transform the function, yes.
Okay, so go over again, negative is select, and then the 3 is expanding it, or that multiplying?
It's a vertical stretch, so it's changing your y's by a factor of 3.
And the 1, it is, y up 1, and then the negative 2 goes down? Is that a shift?
Yeah, there's a shift down.
Right.
All right. Okay. All right. So that should be your do now. I'm gonna stop it there.